What are your favourite foods, Pippa? Food!
Hi guys and welcome to today's video. If you follow my Instagram you'll see I put a little question tag up saying if you have any questions for my mum, which is kind of like ED related. And you guys sent loads in, so if I don't say your question, I'm sorry. But I've kind of narrowed it down to like the main ones and we're just going to run through them quite quickly. She's lying on me.
Come here, Pip. Oh, Popsy, come on.
So we're just going to run through them quite quickly and I hope you get something out of them. But thank you for sending in your questions and follow my Instagram to be involved in future videos like this. But let's get to it. Okay, so the first one is, what advice would you give to other mothers of someone with an ED? What's your main advice?
Take each day at a time, because it can vary, and just keep thinking that one day they will find the way forward and cross that bridge.
That's a good one. Do I still struggle in any way?
Yes. Every day. Sometimes you don't think you're struggling, and sometimes it's very hard not to say that is still an eating disorder behaviour and you don't want to hear that. Some days you'll accept it and other days you'll argue and say no, it's not. But when you've seen it repeated and you have years of experience, often alarm bells ring for us, but at the end of the day I know I can't fix it and that it's you that has to decide to leave it behind, and you're fighting that battle.
Yeah. What do you think led to both your daughters having EDs? And then there was another one saying, do you think it's partly genetic?
100% I think it's genetic. I definitely think there's a genetic disposition to it, but maybe circumstances, personality traits, other issues just sort of turn it on. But I think there is definitely probably the female genetic link within our family, and I would be interested to see if there was any genetic studies to prove that.
When did you start noticing my ED?
I was concerned about your eating disorder probably, you became very ill in September, but before the summer holidays you went on a fitness, what you thought was a fitness, exercising like mad, becoming very concerned about healthy eating, and although you were eating and a lot of it was healthy, smoothers and this and that, and exercising and sort of being, if anything, over energetic and very over enthusiastic with anything physical, alarm bells then rang for me.
Yeah. Have you ever had disordered eating habits yourself?
Probably. Probably, yes. Probably as a teenager, but then you begin to question what is disordered eating, and does actually everybody at some point fleetingly have those thoughts but don't act upon them, or other things take precedence in their lives, so I don't know if it's just that everybody has that, and because is it right to do this or that, or is that normal or is that not normal, and who sets what's normal and not normal. So
how did you handle the stress and worry of it?
Not very well, probably, most of the time. Sometimes I handle it in different ways, depending on my mood, depending what else is going on in life. Sometimes I handle it by being listening, try not to offer advice, just listening and letting you find your own answers sometimes. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but sometimes I think, no, I've seen this, I've done that, we've been there, that doesn't work, and it's very difficult not to actually give my opinion, and often it's not wanted. Sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised and I'll get a positive response and it'll feel as if I've made a difference. But I don't think I've yet learnt. I don't think perhaps there is a right or a wrong way of dealing with it. And I think, yeah, I am probably the world's worst at blaming yourself and wondering, should you do it differently, or are they doing it right, or are they not doing it right, or could I do it better? But I don't think I'm ever going to find, you know, if there was a shelf somewhere with the answer sat on it, then I think we'd have hopefully have found it by now.
Do I still have a long way to go?
A long way to go to what?
In recovery.
I think it's a lifelong journey. Is it just recovery from eating disorder, or is it a lifelong journey with, we all have our positives and either personality or things that bother us or affect us. So I think you've got your life's journey ahead of you, and hopefully things that you put in place and strategies that you've evolved and have found useful yourself, you will clearly, even doing these, I think you have found that to be very helpful. So the things that you're learning as you travel on your life's journey, I don't think there's a time limit necessarily to it, and you may not hopefully struggle with eating disorders, but then you might dip, just as people dip in and out of mood or other ways of, maybe they're not coping strategies, or they are misguided or coping strategies, but people have different things.
How have I changed as a person before, during and after recovery?
To be,
try not to think sciencey, try and think actually how was I before, after. Don't try and think why.
How were you? Well, you were different in different situations, weren't you? You were a beautiful little girl, enthusiastic, mischievous, into everything.
And what about when I was ill though?
And when you were ill, you lost the lust of life. You were, I suppose, depressed. You didn't really see anything ahead. You were just in the moment, I think. You were frightened. You were constantly cold. You were often sad, tearful, angry.
And what about when I started to eat more?
Again, some of those cross over, and sometimes you're even more angry or stubborn. Angry probably more. Again, could be tearful. Frightened. I think frightened came more in as you started to recover, because you weren't quite sure about letting go and moving forward, and the benefits or the risks with which.
Next one is, like, how much did you supervise at the moment versus in recovery? Did you force me to eat anything? Or you hear some parents who are like, you're not getting off this table till you've eaten it, or stuff like that. How was your view on that?
Well, I think it seems such a long time ago, and I'm sure at some point we would have said you to eat that, and try and encourage you to eat it. I don't think you can ever. I was very
stubborn, weren't I?
You were very stubborn.
You never really forced anything, because even in hospital I would just refuse.
I did try and coax, and we did, probably ill-advisedly. I remember that when you mentioning when you're in hospital at the very beginning, of you only having milk roll and a certain blooming chicken, and me trundling off to get. So I was in some ways pandering to the illness because of desperation. And even then, you'd probably find, if a 12th hour, a reason that you couldn't have it. But I think really, it's fear on our part, as the carer's part, as well as an absolutely overriding fear in your part. It then lended itself over to create a fear of, and from a mother's point of view, that you clearly just want to do something to help take the pain away and to sustain life and keep you going.
Alright, the next one is, how did you get Jess to eat oil and butter? My mum doesn't know how.
Well, I didn't really get Jessica to do it. Jessica really decided. Maybe that's a question for her rather than me, because I've had many a screaming match off Jessica that she doesn't want that, and how dare you eat that, do that, and now I can't have that, and this is why I don't trust you to do anything, and all I can do, stop biting your nails, all I can do is, as a dietitian, Jessie had a very good dietitian, and just a constant reassurance that oils are part of the normal thing that everybody needs. Everybody needs, and you can't, if you deny them, then you're denying your body of a nutrient it needs, and it's not evil, as is any food type, in its right place, and it's about stop demonising certain things. But it wasn't me that made Jessica do it, it's Jessica allowing, or it did totally affect the eating disorder, the way we ate at home. When I look back on it, I was always a confident cook. Never really thought, I was brought up cooking, baking, never really thought about it until anorexia came into our lives. And then it almost blew my confidence with cooking. And that I found really recently actually quite annoying for me, that why am I thinking about what I'm going to cook or what I'm going to do, or in the end not wanting to cook because of fear of reprisals, of I can't have that, I'm not going to eat that. And so it has definitely affected. But as far as making Jessica eat butters or oils, or all we've ever done is continue to say there are healthy versions of all these things.
Okay, 3 more questions. My parents are afraid to say anything because a while ago I would explode. Did you have that too?
Absolutely. And we still have it on and off now. Less often, which is a relief. But I think from your parents' point of view, I would say don't take it personal. We do, and it's hurtful, but it's actually, from a parental point of view, I think we all have those moments when, and it's not about you, it's about the eating disorder trying to control your loved one. So don't see it that it's them equally being difficult, it's the eating disorder, and trying to keep calm and just say, and don't necessarily give in to it, but don't equally do what the eating disorder wants and fight head on.
Okay, last 2. What do you think is my biggest recovery win so far? Can you think of an example?
Your big recovery?
Win, so like something that you didn't think I'd be able to do but then did.
I think having relationship probably is your biggest win, because that's brought so many positives, more freedom, more enjoyment of normal life, more wishing to do other things which you couldn't have attempted if you were allowing the eating disorder to control everything that you do.
Okay, last question, so I'll end on quite a light-hearted one. What's your favourite food?
My favourite? Well,
both of our favourite food.
Jessica should know my favourite food.
It's cinnamon.
Oh, my least favourite food. What's my favourite food, Jessica? My favourite 3 foods, seeing that I do, unfortunately. Yeah. If I was on
creme brulee.
Creme brulee with a proper crispy creme brulee top.
3.
Creme brulee would be there, yeah. If I was on my last meal, what would I ask for, probably?
Garlic mushrooms?
No. I would go with probably big king prawn pad thai. What do you think, Pepper? My favourite girl? My 2 favourite girls.
We know my favourite girl.
So yeah, pad thai with real big prawns. Creme brulee would definitely be there as well. I tend to like prawns particularly. Those would probably, I can't think, but I do like the fruit tarts with as long as the pastry is thin and crispy and not soggy with it.
I go through stages of favourite
not too
foods,
sticky, gloopy, with a nice mixture of fruit on the top. It's lunchtime.
Okay, thank you for watching today's video.
There you go, Pip. What? She said her favourite foods. What are your favourite foods, Pippa? Food. Any food except cold prawns. Yeah?
But thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.